All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here. Thank you so much for tuning in to GSD Interviews. Before we jump into this interview, I want to give our sponsors a quick plug that make this show possible. So our first sponsor is our real estate software, www.perfectstormnow.com, the most affordable and effective lead generation software out there. This isn't just a website. Yeah, we've got a website. Yeah, we've got a blog feature. Yeah, we have testimonials and video client testimonials feature. We have community pages. We have all of the typical website stuff. Where we differentiate ourselves is on the lead generation. We teach you how to lead generate. This system is extremely effective with lead generation. We can teach you how to go out there and generate more leads than you can handle without spending a penny on lead generation, right? Not only, though, do we teach you how to lead generate, not only is it a great website, it's a coaching platform combined with software. So we have two monthly live training sessions that are 2 hours long with myself personally. So we teach you how to use the site, how to generate with the site, how to leverage the site. And it goes deeper than that. Okay, I'm getting all these leads. What do I do? What do I say? How do I convert these leads? So we go and train you and coach you on every aspect of that so you can go out there and dominate it in your business. You have access to me, my developers on a daily basis as a customer of ours. So it's $99 a month, no contracts, no registration fees. It's month to month, $99 a month. You can't beat it, right? So go check us out, www.perfectstormnow.com. Our next sponsor is my personal mentorship. You know, if you're ready to take your business, your life, your career to the next level, we've got my 90-day mastery boot camp, which is a mentorship with me personally. Every single week, it's 3 hours or 2 hours of live coaching and training with me, and then 1 hour of live Q&A. You have daily access to me and our private mastermind. We build out your playbook, every aspect of the residential real estate business, from how to lead generate to how to lead follow-up to how to do your presentations to how to build out your database. We even start talking about how to grow a team, how to hire, how to fire. There's nothing that we do not cover inside that program. Then after the program's done, after the initial 12-week program's done, it's an ongoing platform. It's $50 a month where you have access to me for as long as you want. You know, right? And in that $50 a month program, you guys, I've made that where $50 a month is more powerful than a $1,000 a month coaching program that you can get anywhere else. So we do 4 hours of monthly coaching at $50 a month. So you get 4 hours of live coaching. We have 2 in-person masterminds here in Phoenix, Arizona. They're every 6 months. It's a private mastermind with me and only the alumni bootcamp members that are part of the mentorship. We don't bring in guest speakers. There's nothing to sell. There's none of that crap that we all get at all these other seminars that we go to. You usually go pay $500 to a seminar and they try to sell you a bunch of shit. That's not what this is. This is hardcore masterminding. This is a hardcore mentorship, mastermind, and growth program. So if you guys want to learn more about that, www.90daymastery.com. Hope to see you guys in the program. All right, let's jump on into the interview. Hopefully you enjoy this as much as I did. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD interview, where every single week we interview top entrepreneurs and just straight up top badasses, you guys out there dominating their space, that are choosing to not live a life of mediocrity, but going out there and creating epic lives for themselves. So you guys, we got a guest on. I'm really, really stoked on to have this guy on. Been a huge fan of his for a long time. And this is a dude that international best-selling author, speaker, coaching consultant, over 3 million people, serial entrepreneur. This dude's done a lot. So really excited to have Jeffrey Slayter on the show. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. It's good to have you. Good to be on, and yeah, I'm just stoked to just connect. I know you can do some great things, so here we are. Let's see what we can create and co-create to make a difference for the people listening.
Yeah, I love it, man. So I know you're a guy with your story. You're a guy that went out there and hit a lot of success, made millions, lost it, had to learn from those mistakes, bounce back, and remake it. Let's go into that, man, because so often everybody just focuses on all their successes and all this great stuff, but they don't really talk about those low moments and how tough it was to keep pushing and, that feeling defeated, dude. So, if you don't mind, man, let's jump right into that.
Yeah, I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I think I just view them as differently. There's a lot of medicine in the darkness, and there's a lot of medicine in some of the so-called failures. I think anytime I think I'm successful, I think I'm on my way down. I've tend to found that. So some of the strongest points of my life is when I'm having to reflect and go inward and look at, well, how do what next now? It's those times when I've been like laying on the floor wanting to literally kill myself about what to do next. is when I just, almost like a surrender comes over me, and then I start to discover more of what I really want to do. So are they necessarily bad times, good times? I think they've kind of helped me transcend even the term good or bad, where now it's about what can I learn and how can I bring something forth. But for the people listening here, no matter where you're at in your journey, whether it's the beginning or you're about to take your business to the next level, the answers are inside of you. But of course, you've heard all that before. What I've really discovered, the biggest takeaway for myself on this journey has been, it's not about adjusting our beliefs. We were told in mainstream personal development and everything else that we got to change our beliefs to change our behaviors. And actually, I've discovered that I was probably wrong in that. And what's actually shifted myself is actually just shift my behaviors, and naturally the beliefs will change. So if I adopt the behaviors of success, the behaviors of eating healthy, behaviors of doing the things that scare me most and doing them anyway, and adopting those behaviors, the beliefs change. I can be afraid all the way. I can think I'm not good enough. I believe I'm not good enough, whatever. I still sometimes think I'm not good enough at times. But my behaviors, if I keep adopting the behaviors of success, naturally what happens is those beliefs change. So,
I
don't know.
that, man.
Something interesting.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You're the first guest that I've just really talked about that, and I love when you bring that up. So let's kind of dissect that a little bit. Let's say you have a new level, you're ready to level up, you want to do that. I mean, what do you know, or what do you research, or how do you identify what disciplines and behaviors that you need to adopt and get started with that?
Well, I look at the people around me that are successful in the specific domains that I want to master. So like here, I don't know, here's a smoothie, right? So I didn't come up with this concept. There's someone that was a master in the domain of health. That's a friend of mine that speaks all over the world. And he said to me, he goes, I asked him, I said, hey, I want to take my health to like extraordinary levels as far as the level of vitality. Now, obviously, like I'm not into like training, and that's all good, but it's just not my path. But I just want that real health, like vitality within myself. And he goes, okay, you know what you need? And he told me, he goes, you need to have specifically medicinal mushrooms inside your smoothies. You need to have this, all these crazy things that were totally outside of my paradigm of what was real and possible. And he told me, have this. So I consulted somebody that was an expert in a domain, and I discovered that, and I adopted those behaviors. So I put it in my smoothie. And he said, have it every morning and change it up every once in a while and do that. When it comes to, let's say, big picture thinking or acquisitions, I consult someone that's like really a master in that domain for acquisitions. So I look at that. But then most importantly, after all the information that I seek from people around me and I learn, then I go back and I go into my own state, which is relax on the beach by myself and contemplate and consider and trust myself about what they're saying and check in with my inner self. And I find that time alone is actually quite key to being able to integrate the information that I learned from the people around me. But I used to just kind of take it and do it. And I've actually found that that ultimately it has to feel right for me. And so anything that I share during this, it's got to feel right for them, or take it or leave it.
Right. Now I love that, man. So you talk about finding that mentor to help you get there. Because mentors are critical, and but a lot of people they'll reach out on the show like, man, I'm ready to start surrounding myself with new people, reach out those mentors, but they don't know how to do it. Like how do you go out there, and because these guys are busy, they're successful, they're there for a reason. What do you do to get that mentor? Because you can't just be like, hey dude, let me pick your brain, right? So walk us through that.
Yeah. Well, what I find people seem to struggle with at times, and I did too, is you have to pay for access. I mean, there's such good information out there, like you're providing all this great information, all these interviews, and everything else, and people can learn a lot from the information that's out there. There's so much, but then when they want to work closely with a mentor, that we have to understand the mentor is busy doing other things, and it can cost them potentially time to sit with that person, and so they have to invest their money in order to do that. It's just the way it is, or in group formats, things like that. Or there needs to be some sort of value. I mean, here we are, we're having a mutual exchange, and the value you bring is you bring a message out to the world. You've worked years to develop a rocking platform. And the value I bring is the years and years of work. I've made lots of mistakes and wins and whatever, and I share that information with you. But there's a give-take relationship. There's an exchange that takes place. And oftentimes people will try and get things for free constantly, for free, without exchange. But unfortunately, what it's doing is actually is not playing in the laws of the universe, which is the give and take exchange that needs to take place. So to access a mentor, sometimes you have to pay for access and invest for access. And I'm willing to invest for access. And I know that many of the other people that are successful in their domains, they invest for access. It's just the way it is.
Yep. So out of curiosity, man, did you ever have like a stint at some point where you jumped into the corporate world before you became an entrepreneur, or like right out of the gate, did you already know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
My father is, I guess he's a retired entrepreneur. But I grew up in a family where we struggled financially in the early years. My dad was a struggling entrepreneur, and worked really, really hard. And then over time, my mom, we were struggling so much. There's the difference between poverty and struggling. Okay, so we weren't poverty, but we would go to the grocery store. There'd be all these groceries on the little conveyor belt thing, and my mom would have to go she would run the credit card, and it would get denied at the early years, and then we had to go put groceries back. Yeah. So that was not fun. And then that was the life of the entrepreneur for a while, for a few years in the family. Well, sometimes we could pay for groceries, sometimes we couldn't. And then with persistence, my father's company was acquired by another company. And then so he was an entrepreneur. And then he got fed up. He got kind of fed up with that because he was in the corporate world. Because part of the acquisition, he was required to be in a corporate job. Then he started another company, and another one, and one of them became, it's probably everyone knows it, Odesk, Elance, which is now Upwork. So he was the first CEO and co-founder of that, which is pretty cool. So I grew up. I saw a company start from nothing on a kitchen table, and I grew up around that to where it's the biggest in the world. He's no longer at that company. He started it, raised the first capital, first CEO. Now he's in his pool, hanging out probably. So I always knew that my life was paved to be an entrepreneur from day one. Now, just because I grew up in an entrepreneurial family doesn't mean other people can't. I mean, an entrepreneur is just someone who wants to pave their own path. That's it. And so I really acknowledge entrepreneurs, people who would like to be entrepreneurs out there, because we're the ones that will build businesses and impact this planet in a positive way. We're going to build businesses that bring people together, not separate them. We'll build businesses that empower the human spirit, empower the people around us, hopefully build businesses for good things. And that's what we can do with our businesses. So go entrepreneurs.
Yep, love it, man. So when you had those low moments, dude, when you were defeated, when you were on the floor thinking of committing suicide, how did you pick yourself up, man? Was it maybe watching those struggles with your father, or was it something else? How did you pick yourself up to keep pushing?
It was an interesting moment. I was about 26. I lost a lot of money at that time. And I had read, because I always had a habit of learning and reading. And one of my first books I ever read was Paramahansa Yogananda, Autobiography of Yogi. I think that's the one that Steve Jobs carried around or something. And that book was really awesome. But there was in that book, it talked about how if you kill yourself, you got to come back and deal with your problems anyway. So I was laying on the floor. I was like, I had a knife in my hand. And I was like, I'm kind of over this. Like, this sucks. And then I read, and then that quote, and all that reading, that if you're gonna kill yourself, you're gonna have to come back anyway. So I was like, crap, or I really swore actually, but I didn't want to do this thing. And then I said, I'm gonna have to deal with this. So I didn't do it. And then I picked myself back up. It's those low moments. And then I wrote down everything that I actually like and that I love, people, meditation, business, business consulting, speaking, all this stuff. And then I went to sleep. And the next morning I got invited to some training and then kind of changed from there. So that's what happened. But I realized I got to deal with it no matter what, whether I kill myself or not, because we're etherical beings and we exist whether in this physical body, but interdimensionally. So the lessons, you just have to deal with the lesson anyway.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So at what point did you, get into speaking? Because I know that you're a speaker all over the planet. What led to that?
I feel like it was, I was young. I was about 20. I didn't really start ramping up in that domain, but I was about 20 years old, and I watched some guy in front of a room work with a person and around their relationship with themselves. And I said, I want to do that one day. And so I was around 20, and I think I made a choice that that's what I'm going to do. But I first I wanted to make a lot of money first before I went and did it. And so because I thought then I could finally offer something. Really, you don't need to. if you have some, there's people in health that speak, there's people in all different domains that speak. But yeah, it started at a young age, and that's when it started. And I was doing it for free for a while and everything else. And now I just do it because I just love it. And it also leads to so many other opportunities, business opportunities, people to meet people like you that are inspiring other people all over the world. So I love it. Meetings I would never have. I meet all these incredible people.
Yeah, awesome, man. So what what were maybe a 2 or 3 or whatever some of the things when you jumped in this entrepreneur journey that were extremely difficult, that kind of shocked you, that you never would have thought would have been difficult? Because so often, some of the things that we don't, we never account for end up being the biggest challenges.
Well, I used to be in love with the, what I see is, and I think Elon Musk says it very well. I was in love in the beginning with the idea of success. Like it's so easy to be in love with the idea of success. Have a house I want, car I want, money I want, whatever, everything I want. That's so easy, and to be in love with that idea. What was challenging was falling in love with the process of what it takes to have that happen. And the process is sometimes not being able to pay payroll, sometimes feeling like a complete idiot and failure, and still going, standing in front of a room when you might be sick and tired, but doing it anyway, going to a meeting and and you got it all wrong, and having to deal with that. Having a lot of people around you think you're crazy or nuts, but still going at it anyway. Trusting yourself immensely, even when you're scared to. And all that stuff. The other things is feeling not good enough, and then beginning and starting no matter what. That's the process I found in my life is to fall in love with the parts of me I love the least. And it's not easy to fall. It's easy to fall in love with the idea of success. But falling in love with the process of what it takes to have it is a whole other thing. Also, even the process. I used to think that when I made $1 million or whatever, that was going to make me happy, and it's not. It's like those greyhound races. Those freaking they race those greyhounds, and all the greyhounds think that little metal rabbit is real. The metal rabbit called mainstream culture. That this is what success is: have a white picket fence, a nice car, and money in the bank or whatever. That's you get that metal rabbit, you chew on that thing, and it's metal, and then you try and go tell everyone else, all the other dogs, that it's freaking metal, and they think you're crazy. Well, and then you go after the other one called fame, and I went after that one too, the famous metal rabbit. So I was like, okay, I got to go make a difference on a big level. I got to go speak on stage with Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, thousands of people, and I did that. I bit that metal rabbit, and it's all cracked up to be either. So then money, having some sort of fame. I'm not famous like some of these other guys, but enough to taste it. And I'm like, 2 metal rabbits. Okay, next one. I'm going to make a difference in this planet. So I went after that metal rabbit. Bit on that one. Nope. The world's going to be fine. It's up to, if I want to save the world, I got to work on myself. Yeah. So it's just ultimately all of them, everything's a metal rabbit except for working on myself and my own relationship with me and my planet around me and the people around me. So that's tough. That's tough, but I'm glad I did it because I got to discover and have a direct experience that it was metal.
So now that you're working on yourself and you've been through that discovery process, are you, when you hit a goal now, are you much more fulfilled? I mean, or do you, or was it not the metal rabbit? Was it just that you fell so in love with the process of creating something new? I'm still continually growing myself, and sometimes I find out that I've been wrong and I make all kinds of mistakes, and I'm like, oh, that's not right. So, but what I found is, this is going to go counterintuitive what everyone thinks is, I'm no longer like, achievement's not all it's cracked up to be. So achieving things is all it's cracked up to be. So now I'm no longer about of course I set my intentions and my outcomes, but my life is about what's happening right now. Right now I'm sitting, I got ocean over here. I got my smoothie. I'm talking to a guy that's inspiring to the world and impacting the world. I'm just grateful for what's right now. My strongest prayer is gratitude now. There's nothing, and then I'm no longer trying to get anywhere. I was living in the future. Yeah. I was always living in the future. I was exhausted, or I was living in the past instead of just what's happening right now. Like what a gift it is. And I realized, for example, I used to think that nature didn't have a song to it, like nature didn't sing, but I was just deaf. I was deaf by achievement, deaf by my mission statement, deaf by
trying to get somewhere, deaf by motivation. And instead of and then I realized that I was deaf, and the only thing, and nature's always been singing. So if I can just actually slow down and be here right now, everything I need is always right here. But I have to I had to learn to surrender to the universe. See, the old paradigm of manifestation is, what do we want? What do we want? I want this car. I want this house. I want this. I want that. I want to achieve this. I want to do that. But what I discovered was that is actually unsustainable. The new paradigm of manifestation, we're getting a little woo-woo here, but whatever, I work with the wealthiest people in the world, and the people that think this is just a load of crap. We only see 1/10 of 1/1000th of what actually is here on this light spectrum. So what I've learned in my own journey through myself is how humbling it is, and how little I actually know. And through that, I discovered so much more. It was all the things I knew that were blocking me from my own wisdom, from the wisdom of the universe. So the new paradigm of manifestation is not about, to first be able to manifest, we have to learn to surrender to the universe. Surrender to a bigger plan, that we are bigger than these bodies, that we are part of the human family, and we are cosmic beings. Now this sounds crazy. Cosmic beings, yes, we are galactic beings. We are interdimensional beings. And as that, when we learn to surrender to the universe, then from a co-creation space of what Mother Earth wants and we want, we can manifest and sustainable.
Yeah.
So my question to myself is, what does Mother Earth want? And because she's us and we're her, what can we co-create going forward? Maybe we can solve a lot of these big challenges, these crazy wars that are going on. Maybe we can invent and innovate and have free energy that's already probably exists out there, but maybe we can bring it out. Maybe there's, who knows? There's so many incredible things that are waiting to be birthed within us, but we do it from a co-creation space versus a little me, little Jeff space.
Yeah, I love that, man. And it was, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, I got to a point where I realized that my iPhone was just making me my IQ was dropping. I'm like, I'm stupid
Totally.
now. Right? So I was like, man, I gotta ditch this up and spend more time in solitude. I'm a big meditator as well. But you're right, man. People are they're just so busy, and they don't, how do you start with that? How would you, because all these entrepreneurs that listen to this show, man, they're addicted. They've acquired ADD, now they're addicted to this. They can't be alone for 2 minutes by themselves. Where do they start?
Well, what they should understand is this: I spend time with people, their net worth was probably more just huge, okay? Some of the wealthiest people in the world, some of the people, they're worth, some people make their companies 10, 20 million, and then hundreds of millions or billions, okay? And the difference I've seen between people worth millions and hundreds of millions and billions is the ones at the so-called top, whatever financially. I'm just talking financially, okay? Because no one's really at the top. The whole hierarchy system's coming down, but that's another conversation. But essentially, they spend time with themselves. They make the time to spend time in nature. The busy bees, which I know I've been there. The busy, they're actually stifling their growth. I was on a call with my dad. I brought my dad into this call. On a call is me and him and a client of mine, and I think his company was doing around 10 million. He wanted to get to 50 million, okay, in revenue. And he said, well, when was the last time we did quarterly meetings? Like you took your staff out and you did a quarterly meeting and you slowed down. He goes, well, we're too busy for that. I said, well, do you want to know the difference between the companies that are worth billions? Is they're doing quarterly meetings. They're getting their staff out. They're getting them into retreats and having conversation about where they're going next. Well, we're too busy for that. Well, then you're never going to have it. So for the people that are busy, it's actually, I know for myself, when we're busy being busy, I used to derive my significance as a human being by being busy. And what I found was actually it was me avoiding actually the deep sadness and frustration and me avoiding the feeling that I wasn't enough. So I would be busy to never experience that. And then when I finally slowed down enough and sat with myself in the forest or meditation, I actually had to deal with that I felt like I wasn't enough. And I had to actually move through that. And that, because in order to heal it, we had to kind of feel it. So I had to feel it. And I had to acknowledge that I was being busy just to avoid that. And then as I started to felt that, I started to kind of breathe through it, let it go. And there's some other things I'll share with you that definitely support people in that. And then what began to happen was new insights came about. New ways of doing things, completely outside the paradigm of being busy. And I worked smarter. And I didn't work as hard. In fact, and I started to unentangle. Work hard doesn't necessarily mean more money. In fact, if you want to make more money, be ambitiously lazy. And then spend time in the areas that are most important and do just those really, really well. And this is the trend I see with some of the most successful entrepreneurs I consult. And also I see within myself at a micro level or macro level, depending on what it is.
Yeah, you know,
So,
Bill Gates says he loves hiring lazy people.
I know,
I
that's
want to be
what
brilliant, but I'm going to be lazy because they'll come up with the most efficient, effective way to get it done. You know, but people see you on the beach and they think, oh, dude, he doesn't work. But that, I mean, you're working, man, you know, right? I mean, those powerful revelations are coming in. So when you, I know you're doing a lot of different work. I mean, you went from a lot of business consulting and now you're doing, I don't know, say opposite.
crazy stuff.
Yeah, but you know, ayahuasca, and you're involved in a lot of different things out there.
I'll talk about it. It's fine. I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
I'll go there.
Did all that come? Because I'm a guy. I'm a big Graham Hancock fan, and you know, it's something I'm very interested in, and you know, definitely want to do here as soon as I possibly can. So yeah, I mean, how did that transition start, and how did that all get involved with that?
You know what's funny is as soon as we were about to talk about this, the time over here is 11:11. Okay, well let's begin. At an early age, I was I still meditate daily. Okay, I eat clean food. You know, I used to eat like crap. Then I did the ashram tours. So I go to ashrams. I'd spend time in meditation and silence and feed people and that whole thing. And now I just have a daily meditation practice. But still, I couldn't crack it. And I had all this time. I was the one training. I was the one speaking. I got the money, the resources. But how come I still felt like a little bit unfulfilled? Like, what the heck's going on? It's so frustrating. And then my buddy, and I had never done a drug in my life. I've never even drank in my life. All right? So still, and I was like, something's missing. What is it? I've had the fame, I've done this, I've done that, I've made the money. I was like, and I looked out at my human family. I'm going, well, they don't even have the time to do this, and I'm still feeling like something's not cracking. So I was like, what haven't I done? And then my buddy sends me this documentary on these medicines in the jungle. I was like, I don't do that. That's crazy. That is crazy. I don't do that. Then I started to do some research. I realized like Sting and some other incredible people have worked with some of these sacred medicines. And I went, all right, fine. I'm going to go. Actually, I said, and I went, I'm going. And then my mom's like, what are you doing? It was like, that's crazy. You could die. So I just went. And I spent, a good couple weeks in the jungle for the first time. And I was like, the difference is, it's like this. And Terrence McKenna says it well. Meditation, my foot's on the grass going, let's go. Gotta find that inner peace. And then in ayahuasca or wachuma or some of these other medicines, it's not for everybody. This is just my own journey. My foot's are on the brake. So I can take the most powerful meditation experience I've ever had, and I put the work in of samadhi, whatever they call it, and ayahuasca or some of these medicines, you can't even. I have no words. It's the difference is times 1,000 for the direct experience of what it is to be connected to everything around us. And once you have it, you can't. It never leaves you. And I'm not saying it's for everybody, and then I just kept going down that path and continued. And there's people in the jungles that know a lot more than me about this stuff. But then meeting new people, more adventures, more journeys, more work. And then you know what I discovered? Some of the most successful people on the planet, as far as business-wise, they've been doing this work and they still are. You just never hear about it. And I sat in some of these ceremonies with them. So then it led me to another project which I wanted to create. So what will be because for me, money doesn't really drive me anymore. Success, fame, whatever. It's impact and direct experience of life. So I said, what would be the craziest project ever? I want to take the highest leverage, like some of the billionaires on the planet, and I want to put them in ceremonies with the most experienced medicine men and women in the planet. I want to put them in ceremonies together and see what happens. And that's been a project of mine. And it's incredible. The conversations from some of these people, what do they care about most? Their kids, their family, and leaving a legacy of impact and looking after the planet. It may not look like everyone else wants it to look, but I have seen profound shifts. Because what's the point of building a business if you don't have the experience of gratitude for life every day? There's no point. And I've seen some of the wealthiest people that are the most miserable go back to actually experiencing what's important to them and then building their businesses and adding the human component to their businesses. The days are over where we check our humanness at the door.
Yep.
When we do companies. So the new paradigm of business is their humanity remains intact in the company. The other one is it must look after the planet and the people. Without that, we got nothing. It's unsustainable. And the CEOs have to continue to do the inner work, or else they become the glass ceiling to their companies and their staff and their level of engagement. There is a direct correspondent to the level of depth that the CEO has to the amount of impact it can have on the planet, and also to how well the people feel and looked after in their company to be able to create and birth a mission that's worth living. So that's just incredible. If you want to know about it, then go to thegrandinitiative.com, thegrandinitiative.com. There's 60 videos of science backing up what I'm saying, all this knowledge around it. And it's definitely not for everybody, but the human family's sick right now. They've been programmed that mainstream culture, CUL cult. It's a cult that I didn't even know I was a part of when I first was born, called mainstream culture. This is what success is. It's all wrong. It's bullshit. Sorry, it's bull. I was just reading your shirt.
Get shit done, man. You're good, bro.
They got it totally off. It's off. We got to do something different because something's going on. There's just bombings the other day. This is insane. And so people know it at the top. People listening to this, we are going sane in an insane world, and we got to go back to what it is to being the original premise of what it is to being human. And these plants and these medicines and the stuff in these Amazon jungles, they have the answers for a lot of us. For the direct experience. But of course, you could always write it off because people know a lot. Forget knowledge. Knowledge is worthless. It's wisdom. It's direct experience. Knowledge becomes a cage in itself to stop the wisdom from coming in.
Yep, love it, man.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I've heard so many just like you, some of the most successful people on the planet say, "Hey, you're not living until you've been through this experience," right? But it's also gets me always thinking like. Isn't it like the most illegal substance on planet Earth? That's why you got to go to the jungles and do it. Like if I was walking around the United States here, man, I'm going to probably go to prison for 5 years. So then, is it the man trying not to allow us to expand our mental capacities or,
I mean, there's an agenda for that. They don't care about us. They don't care. Look, if it's not for everybody, and you can get really hurt if you go to the wrong place, and just do the research. It'll work for people that's right for. But I've just found that if I trust my heart, I know that these plants, Mother Nature, is incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is illegal, and I find it interesting how some of the most, how some of these substances, sugar, that's poison.
Right. It's worse than cocaine, man.
It's just poison. So most of the stuff that's so-called legal isn't necessarily good for us. And some of the stuff that's now I'm not telling go to the jungles, do it where it's legal. You can't do it in America. Yep. So do it where it's legal and find out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. People should go find out for themselves what it's all what it is to be human. And that means you have to go back to some of the people that have kept they say that when a medicine man dies or a woman dies, it's a library burning to the ground. And there's some stuff in those knowledge. You won't find it in the anthill, as Terrence McKenna says. You won't find it in the busyness. You'll find it outside the anthill.
Yep. Love it, man. So out of curiosity, dude, because I can go up to Sedona, a couple hours away from me, and they have a lot of Indian reservations up there where they have a DMT experience. You're not doing ayahuasca, but you're smoking the DMT, and
yeah.
They say it's somewhat of a similar experience. Have you done both? Is it different or is it the same?
I can't speak from direct experience from DMT. I've never even smoked weed.
Okay.
So I've never done DMT as a direct thing. What I can, and obviously in ayahuasca there's DMT in it. There's DMT in all of us right now.
Right.
As DMT is in every human being, every plant. But when people smoke DMT out of a shamanic context, when the space is inhaled, I think they're playing with fire.
Right.
So I'm definitely an advocate of plants done in a shamanic context, very much so. And how can it help someone's business? Immensely, because it's the people that are willing to get things done, make things happen. Because it used to be a very hippie thing, so-called hippie thing, where people that were just doing these plants, they got to bring something back. And so the people that are the ones that make things happen, they get these insights and they bring something back. They bring it into their companies. They get it. They bring it into the world. And so my specific feedback on that is I've never done DMT, so I can't tell you from direct experience. But outside of a shamanic context, I think it's dangerous.
Yep, love it, man.
And I'm very much. And then when you isolate a compound into something, potentially when you isolate a compound, you're missing other components that we don't know. So the plants in Mother Nature might have a better understanding than we do at a knowledge-based level, which I would assume that they do, about how things work together, because all parts affect the whole. You isolate a compound. What I can tell you is that the person who isolates that compound, if it's made in a laboratory, the essence of that laboratory goes into the experience. So whereas like ayahuasca, if it takes 3 or 4 days to make it and to brew it, the process of that is actually, and the love that goes into it is actually downloaded into the experience.
Yep, it's awesome, man. Do you do retreats where it's not your business coaching clients? So like just some, small player dude like myself can join a retreat in the Amazon, or is it only with your high level coaching clients?
I do, but they're not very public. But I don't like go public about it. So around retreats, it's not for me. I just love it. I actually even sometimes it's maybe one day I might. But there's plenty of places people can go. I can't recommend any, but if people go on the website, it'll come to them. It's really a relationship between you and the plant. If that's something that you want to do, the plant or Mother Earth, and it'll guide you if it's meant. If someone's listening to this and they find themselves curious about this stuff, then maybe you're called. Maybe you're not. Who knows? And that's just, it doesn't mean you're better if you're called or not. It's just there's a timing thing. For me, it was a timing thing. But there's so many incredible places. But just make sure it's safe. Make sure it's done well. That's what matters. For me, I just want the human family. Like, it's just time. It's just time. We look at what matters to us. And I'm just over these wars and this famine and this poverty and where everyone's struggling. It's ridiculous. We could do better. I'm just tired of it. And I just, not just for me, but for my, when I have kids, I want this world to be a place that I enjoy. I don't want to be mechanical. You understand.
Yep. Yeah, I've got 3 little kids, man, so I totally understand. So going back to your coaching business, because, man, you coach over 3 million people in 12 different countries, and that may even be an old stat, probably way more than that now.
I think it is.
So, I know most coaches struggle, right? I mean, they struggle, to even make 6 figures a year.
It's kind of crazy, yeah.
Yeah, so when you're seeing this, they might have, a brilliant mind, brilliant ideas, whatever. Like, what do you see most coaches failing? And what are some of those things that maybe you did to be able to coach 3 million people, which I can't even fathom?
Well, I booked myself solid with engagements all over. So that happened. What was it that had to happen? Persistence beats intelligence. I just persisted. I just kept going. And most people stop. Doesn't make me any better. I'm just crazy enough to just keep going, I guess. Yeah. And I feel like the difference between a 6-figure coach and a 7-figure coach is just the person that makes 7 figures just knows that they value their life's work more. For me, this is my life's work. And I value it, and I'm not here to work with everybody. I'm here to work with as many leaders as possible. If we work one-on-one, I choose my clients, and I pick them. Whereas often coaches, they kind of want to work with everybody. But I actually took the time to go, who do I want to work with? I want to work with people that are impacting the planet, that have high leverage, that are kind, that care about their families and the people around them, and that's who I want to work with. And they're willing to invest in that. And if they're not, then I don't want to work with those people. So I choose my clients. Whereas I feel like sometimes other people, they just want to work with everybody. Yep. So I'm okay with not working with everybody. So I think that's a big thing. The other thing is I also invested a lot of money. If we want to make 7 figures, I got to pay somebody, a couple thousand an hour to get me some incredible specific things and actions to do. Whereas oftentimes people just want a good deal, and then they do that to themselves. They try and get discounts from everyone else, and then what they're doing is actually discounting themselves.
Yep. Love it, man. So, you mentioned before that you're big in self development, a big reader. What were maybe some of the I know this is a tough question, but what were some of the top reads, whether it's a few, whatever, that you would recommend to our listener base that really had an amazing, profound impact on your life, whether it's your business or overall life?
Yeah, good reads. The best read, because I actually really like this. This isn't. Look, I've actually found myself reading more books about some of these, from medicine men and women and all that stuff now, and the journeys of the universe and all this wild things. So I would actually encourage, the best read is to actually read your heart. It sounds so cheesy, but yet reconsider that programming. That's not cheesy. The hardest journey is from the head to the heart. And so for me, somebody asked me, what book would I read right now? And I would say, oh, what book would I have on an island? It'd be a blank book, and I would just write my own book. I'd listen to myself, because I would write from there, because I learn so much by just writing and sharing into a blank book, because it's a blank canvas. So the hardest book to read and the most inspiring book is a blank book that we write. And everybody's got a book in them. Everybody's got a story. You're still alive, you've got a story. We got to stop being characters in other people's novels. It's time for us to take the pens back and be the authors of our book called life. I'm done with being a character in someone else's book. And right now is the time for other people. We're done with it. Let's start writing our own books. Let's start tapping into our wisdom. And when everyone discovers their wisdom and they write their own knowledge and they make their life a book, then everything works. We're the only species on this planet that doesn't work in harmony with Mother Nature. So if they need a good book, sure. I like Rumi. I like Hafiz as good poetry. Those are some of my, I think Hafiz is quite comedy to me. Or Kabir. Actually, Kabir is funny to me. So those are some good poets I enjoy. Those are my favorite books. But the real book is a blank book for me.
Yeah, I love that, man. You're the first guest I've ever had on the show, I've ever interviewed that said that, man. I love it. It really comes back to when you talked about the busyness. Because we get told these things like, oh, your average CEO reads 60 books a year. It's like, crap, I got to read all these books. But then you get so busy reading books, you don't have time to apply it. And you're just, it's almost like you overread.
You know what? I would say that the new CEO spends at least 4 hours a week by himself.
Yeah.
In a forest. That's a new CEO. Or maybe around the fire by themselves. The new CEO does that. And I can tell you, speaking from experience from some of the wealthiest CEOs on the planet, that's where it's going.
Yep. Love it, man. So, so often in life, good becomes the worst enemy to greatness. I know you kind of talked about this a little bit of why you do what you do now, but, what keeps you, because you could easily just coast, what keeps you growing and leveling up so you're not selling for good and always going after greatness?
I used to have a reason for why I did what I did. I really used to have a mission statement. This is my mission. And then I almost died in January, and I realized that my mission statement was clouding my connection to what's next for me, and life became about just coming back. Really, I just enjoy a good piece of toast, and I like grilled potatoes a lot. I like waking up and looking out and seeing the ocean and the sunlight on the ocean. I don't have a reason anymore for why I do what I do, and neither do. And it reminds me of birds. Humanity has put that we think birds sing for a reason. They don't. They don't have a reason. Birds sing because they sing. That's what they do. So I do what I do because I do it, and I have no reason for why I do it anymore. I've lost the reason. Yep. This is just me being me. People can take it or leave it.
Yep, I love it, man. So a few last questions for you. But before we get in there, I want to make sure we get our listeners the best place to reach out to you. I mean, if they want to learn more about you, learn more about your coaching, consulting, you're also an author. Where's the best place to go do that?
They can go to Jeffrey, Jeffrey, Slayter, SLAYTER.com. I've got thousands of documentaries under the resource section. Go to town. There's so much stuff in there on science and things to back things up. It's amazing. They can go there, JeffreySlayter.com. Then go to my free events that are all over the world, some of them. You go to the event section, you'll see all kinds of events. Some of them are free. They can go there. That's a good place to start. And then obviously if they want to learn more about specifically some of these plants that they can do legally in Peru, other places, they can go to thegrandinitiative.com, and the resource section, there's all kinds of research I just put together.
Yep, that's awesome, man. So I know this has happened before, but you've also learned a lot from those experiences. So let's say something happened now, where you're at with all the experience that you've learned right now, and you've lost it all again. Right? Your health's good, everything's good, but you've retained all of this, but dude, you're wiped out. You got nothing. How would you go out there? What would you immediately do to go out there and rebuild what you built, knowing what you know today?
I'd probably spend some time by myself and kind of giggle at the whole thing. This is like, I'd be like, oh, that sucks. And then kind of laugh about it, be pissed. Oh, first I get really pissed, like, what the heck? And then I go take a chill pill, and I'd go to the pharmacy called Nature, and then I would just sit with myself, and the answer would show up. I just trust it would just show up. The next thing would show up, and I would trust it if I did that was part of the process. So I would sit with myself and see what showed up, because I got everything I need inside of me, and everything shows up when I need it.
Yep. So I recently had a guest on, and he said something similar about what success meant to him. He's like, because I've lost it and I built it, I've lost it and I built it. I used to think success was have all this money. He goes, now to me, success is going to bed every night, knowing if I lose it all, I can rebuild it. I don't worry. Like, that's what success is to him now, and it sounds like that's in alignment with you.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, there it goes, there it comes. Whatever, ebbs and flows. It's cool. And not that I like, I like having the resources. It's good. I can make more of a difference, but it's not me. And yeah, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
Cool. So I know you get interviewed and you're on a lot of podcasts constantly, right? So what is the one question that nobody ever asks you that you wish they would ask?
That's just that one. That's the question. That's awesome. The one question nobody ever asked. I need a second to think about that. What? Maybe the question is, what scares me the most? What breaks my heart the most?
Yep, I like that.
And the answer to that would be, humanity has suffering down. We've got suffering down. We have learned to endure suffering. We've been doing it for thousands of years. Now it's time for us to endure gratitude in life. Let's do that. And it breaks my heart to look out at the human family and see this war and this famine, and even people trying to hustle and make things happen, when really they're missing out on the breeze on their face and the life around them and the birds and their feet on the beach, and they're missing the point. It breaks my heart. We're sick. The human family's sick, and we're so sick we don't know we're sick. I memean, there's just unresolved trauma in our bodies. Half of us walk around like drones, man. It's nothing wrong with it, but it's crazy to me. We're amazing, and if we're not careful, we're going to create our own Armageddon. We are so powerful. The program of Armageddon is going to literally create an ending for us as a human family, when really all Armageddon is a new beginning. So this is our time. We are sitting on the precipice of an emergency right now. And through this emergency, we will emerge. The most beautiful, beautiful species on the planet is a butterfly and its wings. And the cosmos, actually. It's a compressed universe on the platform of a wing. It's like a piece of art, boom, on the wings of a butterfly. And it's the only species, that actually can't see its own wings. Well, human family is very similar. We all have wings and we have forgotten. And this is our time. And anyone that says it's a load of whatever, well, then go have a world of war and famine and everything else, because that's what they're trying to make as cool. And that's what they're trying to make as the norm of separation. And this is our time. It's time to take our planet back, our home back. And this is the days when we stop trying to own land and we remember that land owns us. This is our time. So what breaks my heart the most is we have forgotten what it is to be human.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's powerful. I heard a quote. I can't remember who it was from, but it was something like, it's not healthy to be well adjusted to an unhealthy society. And
So
what you're
true.
saying here just resonates so much with that quote, man. It's insane. So, I love it, man. So, we create this podcast just like a lot of people that create podcasts because they want to deliver great information. We're in this information overload, and you're a very successful coach, and you're coaching on stuff that you've done. And there's so many, quote unquote gurus that have never done it, that are operating from a place of theory. So I wanted to create this to go interview the doers like yourself, dude that have done it big, that have overcome those struggles, and inspire and give that back to, one, to me so I can learn and grow, but also our listener base, man. So, with that being said, do you have any last pieces of words or advice or inspiration that you'd like to leave our listeners with so they can go out there and create that amazing, epic life like you're talking about that they know they want and deserve?
I got no advice for anybody anymore. I just got questions.
Yeah.
So my questions to everybody listening would be, what do you want? And if you could finally have what is it you'd like in your life? And if you give yourself permission to have that, what would that do for you? What are you resisting in your bodies that you aren't willing to feel? And if you felt it and you were able to let that be, what new insights would come about? My next question to the rest of the human family is what gives you the right to play so small? We're bigger than that. If you could see your own wings, what color would they be? Are you a part of? My other question would be, what are the best questions to be asking yourself right now for everybody here in order to have a life you want? Did you tell your mom and dad and your kids that you love them? When was the last time you did that? And if you're not, what's between you and doing that? What are you afraid of? My other question to the rest of the human family would be, you used to choose every moment between love and fear. Every moment, that was the old paradigm. You had a choice between love and fear every moment. And now I will assert that the days are done where you can have a choice anymore. There's no more choice. There's only love. So then my question to you or to everybody around that would be, what the heck are you so afraid of? And let it be. Just come on. You caught me right after I heard about this whole Brussels attack right now, and I'm just sad.
Yeah.
Just sad. We're amazing, and these things could stop if we just finally wake up to what incredible beings we are and who we are as a human family. We need to wake up and do the work, the real work, and go inward. This is our time. We are incredible. So, and the only solution now, there is no more choice anymore. The new paradigm is only love. We build our businesses from love. We treat our families with love. We treat ourselves with love. That's it. Everything else is a load of crap.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. That's powerful.
There we go. That's all I got.
That's amazing, man. Powerful words. And to our listener base, I'm going to give you different advice than I usually give when we close the show. But the advice I'm going to give you, man, is sit down right now. Don't go out there and get back into busyness. Take those questions Jeffrey just shared with you and spend that solitude and really think about that stuff, man. Don't go out there. Usually I'm in these with information on implementation is sort of illusion. Go out there and take massive action. Now we got to do the opposite, right?
Do the opposite.
I love it, man. I love it. And Jeffrey, man, I know how busy you are, and this is such a massive honor. It took busy time of your busy day, dude. I mean, you can't see him, but I got massive goosebumps from talking about you, dude. So I know I've learned a lot and grown from this a lot, and I honor you. I appreciate everything that you do, and I know our listeners do as well, man. So it means a lot, and I greatly appreciate it.
Greatly appreciate the work you're doing and everyone listening. So thank you for being a platform for bringing humanity together. And to the people listening, thank you for being the types of human beings that are growing. And it's all we can ask for. So thank you. And everyone's doing at people listening to this, give yourself credit. You're doing the best you can with the choices that we have. We all are. So instead of worrying about how you could do better for everybody, look at how well you've done to even be the types of people listening. So thank you, everybody. It's immense gratitude for being on this call.
Yep, love it. All right, you guys, we will see you next time.